But before we dive into that part specifically, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your personal journey and what you're all about?
Sure. So I'm 100% Taiwanese. I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. I grew up in Taiwan and I did all my education in Taiwan until college.
Ah,
And right now I'm a polyglot. I'm also a language researcher and also Taiwanese indigenous language activist.
exactly.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and it would be interesting just to have a side note why you're in Latvia at the moment.
Okay. So as a personal rule, I choose a country every year and I go there for about a month and stay there to learn the language. So this year I chose Latvia and of course Latvian to be my language of the year.
Oh, nice. I guess we
That's
will
one.
have time to hear more about it a bit later in this interview. Now we're focusing a bit more on growing up in Taiwan.
Yes.
So, how would you describe Taiwan's relationship with languages, both officially and in daily life?
Yeah. So Taiwan is actually a very multilingual island or nation, but most of the people feel they are monolingual because they think except Mandarin, nothing else counts. So many people do not think they speak 3 or 4 languages. For example, my mom, she actually speaks perfect Taiwanese, which is Hokkien, Mandarin, and Hakka, and plus some Japanese and English, but she never thought that she is a brilliant polyglot.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way because
Yeah.
if I were in this situation, I would flaunting this ability to switch between so many different languages. So
Mm.
it's very crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's an island with over 20 different languages, and they are all not mutually intelligible. So it's very interesting.
So maybe do you have other, like you mentioned now your mother, but also do you have other examples on this sort of like monolingual mentality? How does it kind of like constitute in the day-to-day life?
Yeah, so most of people when they face languages, especially foreign languages like English, they um, they they are kind of scared. They always think that, oh, I'm bad at languages, I cannot learn. But they forgot that like I would say 90% of Taiwanese people at least are fluent in both Mandarin and Taiwanese, right? So actually a very strange phenomenon. You already speak more than 2 languages, but now you think you are not good at languages. And if we consider our indigenous peoples in Taiwan, then they speak even more. But again, when they face foreign languages, I mean, most of people, they think, oh, we are not multilingual at all. Language is not possible for me. So that I think that's a very strange phenomenon. It's in fact a multilingual nation, but people think monolingually.
Yeah.
And do you think this has changed with younger generations?
Yeah, I think it's exactly. First, now actually, Mandarin is no longer the only official language in Taiwan. Now we have passed the national language law like many years ago. Now every language in Taiwan is recognized, including Mandarin, Taiwanese, Hakka, and all the 16 indigenous languages. And also in schools, every language is taught, and you can even choose what language you want to learn. Of course, there are still a lot of things that we need to do because not everybody is fluent in her or his native language. We are getting there, and plus, more and more people now can confidently speak English or even Japanese. Again,
It's like sort of,
yeah.
it's a very nice feeling to having this sort of like mentality shift over time. And like that's kind of like a very interesting point of view because in your experience now you've been to a lot of different places and especially you have learned a lot of languages. But like I want to go a little bit broader here, exiting a little bit of Taiwan. How many languages do you speak? Or do you
So that's usually a very difficult question, right? Everybody has a different definition of speaking a language.
Yeah.
So what's your definition? According to your definition, I can give you different answers.
Like to me, speaking a language would be something that like maybe you know some of the basics of, maybe you have read a book or like you have had a conversation with somebody, not like at a super high level. Even to me, if you're someone that can say things like hello, how you're doing, where's the bathroom, to me that's already speaking a language, as long as you know at least some of the basic rules about it. So by this definition,
Okay.
how many do you speak?
Okay, if speaking a few words and knowing the basics is your definition, then I would say over 50 languages. 5-0.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really a lot.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh god. 50.
Yeah, but it's not that unbelievable. I just told you, like every year, I would choose at least one country to go and learn the local language, right? And I'm turning 41 this year, and I started this project when I was 20. So that's about 50, right?
I guess in that regards, yeah, I guess that's a nice way to put it.
And how?
And of course, I don't just speak like a few words in every language. Some languages I'm very good for some languages, and some languages I'm iffy, and some languages are like really a few words.
I mean, I think as long as you know a couple of words, at least from my Italian perspective, someone that can speak a little bit of the words, for me, it's already enough. It's like, oh, that's fantastic. You're kind of one of us if you can say a little bit of Italian. So maybe other places in the world aren't as kind. But in my mind, if you know how to go to the bathroom, that's enough for me. That's enough. I don't know how it is in Germany.
Yeah, then 50. Yeah, 50.
Yeah. I almost wanted to hide a bit here because that's not my definition of speaking a language.
I mean, you are the language learning specialist after all, so.
Yeah, so for me, speaking would be really like being able to hold a conversation with somebody. And that's definitely comes later than after the standard sentences of how to go to the bathroom. But
How would your repertoire of languages change with this definition?
Yeah. So that if it's having a real conversation or going to the country and having real conversation with people, it's between 15 to 20.
That's not a lot. That's not a lot.
Exactly. And how did your love for languages start?
So I was inspired by two of my college professors. They were all brilliant polyglots. One of them was Italian, actually, and the other one was ethnic German in the US.
Could have been us.
That could have this point. Could have been us.
Yeah. So your ancestors or your compatriots kind of inspired me to become a polyglot. So I met them in college, and that was the first time I saw someone speaking multiple languages at the same time, and plus fluently. And I told myself that, I wanted to be something like that. And I started to, study more languages, and I also fell in love with everything about languages.
Yeah, that's a very wonderful story to start, because everybody has their own little way. Some people have to do it out of necessity when they're moving somewhere out, and having somebody that can genuinely find love, even like in a country that, like you said, is not necessarily known for languages, is very inspiring. But if I am remembering correctly, you also know a lot of languages that for some people might be considered a little bit lesser known or even dead, like for example Latin. So like to me, a language like Latin and being studied in a place like Taiwan don't really seem that there's a lot of mix. So how was your experience learning those lesser known languages in Taiwan?
Okay, so my kind of motive, or if you ask me why I wanted to learn Latin, because I just thought, it looks cool. I was only 18, and also, the professor was Italian, and I said, okay, I can, even if I don't learn it well, I can meet an Italian in my school.
I mean, that's, I wouldn't say, don't worry, like you, for people that are interested in learning Latin, you're not going to be able to have conversation with people like just speaking Latin. So like, so cool though. I don't blame you.
Yeah, so the experience, I think that the most important part was meeting the professor, Valentino, because he inspired me to become a polyglot. And as you remember, I even went to visit him in Italy, all the way down to Siena. So that really gave me the passion and the motivation to become the polyglot. As for the Latin itself, it was also inspiring too, because before Latin, I didn't know any European language besides English. So that opened my eyes to, conjugation and, subjunctive and all these European language ideas. So I don't think I had met or seen anything more complicated than Latin after Latin. I mean, Europe, right?
Yeah, it's definitely like a really harsh way to start learning European languages, because we don't even have the full, at least if I remember from high school when I did it, you don't even have the full confirmation that some rules even apply. Like sometimes you go to the dictionary and says, it just uses cum in this case because, okay.
Because some author decided he wanted to use it. I remember that part very well. Maybe the Libby or some Cicero, he decided he wanted to use ablative here, then we stick with ablative.
Yeah, I have very traumatic experiences in my high school studies. Which is interesting because in Italy, you have a lot of resources to learn Latin, it's very easy to go to your library and get your Latin, the big Latin manuscripts and stuff. But do you think that Taiwan has the necessary resources to help people that are interested in learning languages, even if it's not like Latin, even like more major languages? Like, do you think that Taiwan helps the students find the resources that they need to learn?
You mean now or when I was in college? That was 20 years ago. Right now, everybody has the internet.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, but like maybe back in the day, it wasn't as common?
No, it was the resource was scarce. And as I told you, this interesting example of learning Russian in Taiwan back in the 2090s, all our materials were about communism.